Hello and welcome to Nullitaire Gaming, where we play games with 0 players. Or in other words, we play bots against one another. No humans are allowed in our games. And we've got something special today. It's So You've Been Cursed, which is sort of the second installment of a series, I suppose. First being So You've Been Eaten. And I did a video on this game already. I'll put a link in the description of this video to a playlist that will have that video in it as well, so if you want to go see that. And this was an important game for the channel because, as I said in that video, as far as I know, it's the first game to explicitly advertise itself as a Nullitaire game. You see there, 0 to 2 players. Okay. And this game as well advertises itself as a 0 to 2 player game. So a similar idea with this one. Okay, so we played the Nullitaire version of this one in that last video. Now we're going to play the Nullitaire version of this one. Okay, I just got this in the mail from the Kickstarter. This game, by the way, is from Scott Alms, Ludi Creations. Alright, let's set it up and get going. We're almost set up now, but I want to give you a quick tour of the components. This is the collector's edition, so it has some upgraded components, and there's this sheet here with some art on the back in the box detailing the upgraded components. So the the Wizard and Monster boards, it's these boards here, this one and this one. These are triple layered. I might be able to pick that up. Yeah, triple layered. Okay, so they have these sort of nice, indented spaces in it, so things don't slide around in there. It's kind of nice. Okay, and similarly with the monster board over here. Okay, and the ingredient tiles. Okay, so these bits here, these in the retail edition, these would be tiles, but here they're wooden pieces. Okay, the town guard tiles. Again, normally those would be tiles. Here they are tokens. These sort of big fat things right here. Okay, in the Nullitaire game, these are not used. Which, if you've been around my channel at all, you know what I'm about to say. That means these are cheater bots. These bots play by different rules than humans would play by, and so they're cheaters. I don't like cheater bots. So, I'm already I'm going to have the same problem with this game as I had with the previous game. So You've Been Eaten. Those were massive cheater bots as well. And I said in my previous video, I may make my own bots for that game that do play by the same rules as humans. I have thought about that, and maybe that will still happen. I don't know. Now that I have this one too, perhaps it will be more of an incentive for me to try to make such bots. Although this game plays very differently. At least having 2 of them might make me want to do it. Okay, some other tiles that are upgraded: Cure, Panic, and Curse. Okay, so these tiles here. This is the Panic token. Okay, nice thick token. Here's the Curse token, and the Cure token is here. Okay. And the energy tiles, okay, that's these things here. They're upgraded into these like plexiglass pieces. See through with the piece of art on the bottom there. But once again, those pieces are not used in the Nullitaire game, so you won't see those again. And we have coin tiles that have been upgraded into metal tokens, so that's these here. These are metal. Okay. There's also a deeper UV coated box. Okay, 3 tuck boxes. top boxes up there. And a Weird Livestock promo. So this is sort of a mini expansion here. We're not going to use that in our Nullitaire game. There are Nullitaire rules for it, but honestly they're not particularly interesting. So I'm just not going to bother with it. Okay, now let's talk about the setup. Well, one more little note on upgraded components. I noted that one thing that's not upgraded, and I wish it were these. Not this one really, that's kind of a throwaway, but these are like player aids that describe turn, but they're just, it's just a piece of paper. It's very thin. It'd be nice if these were upgraded to something, a piece of cardstock or something. So I find that to be a little a little disappointing. Honestly, I don't really even care for these metal tokens. I think they're kind of annoying. They're heavy, and I think cardboard pieces are actually better. So I wish they'd get rid of that and just upgrade these to some, some better cardstock. But anyway, that's the way it goes. Another thing about these player aids is there isn't one for the Nullitaire game. There are two for the two-player game. Okay, and on the back of these are two indexes. There's the spell card index and there's the power card index. All right, and on the other side is the player aid for the two-player game. It actually has a misprint on it. It says, "So you've been cursed to be a rabid monster." That's actually the name of one of the solitaire versions of this game. So that's actually not correct. This is just the regular "So you've been cursed" game. So that's a misprint, clearly. The other one has that same misprint. Okay, this is actually the "So you've been cursed to be a rabid monster" game. In this one, the monster is a bot and the wizard is a human player. Okay, and you see these icons here that show that. See, there's the wizard, and there's the monster, and that spiral behind it indicates that it's a bot. Okay, notice on this one, no spirals on either one. So this is actually the two-player game. Okay, this is the "So you've been cursed to be a rabid monster" game right here. And on the other side of this, we have the "So you've been cursed by a possessed wizard" game. So this is the solo game that flips the roles. You have a wizard bot, the possessed wizard, and you have a human monster player. Okay, but there is no player aid for the Nullitaire game. You basically have to just flip this one back and forth. Here's the possessed wizard's turn, and here's the rabid monster's turn. So you just have to keep going back and forth with this one to play the Nullitaire game. Okay, kind of annoying for a Nullitaire player. And while we're on that point, here are the rule books, and yes, plural, rule books. There's a survival guide, and this is the same as in the last game too, "So You've Been Eaten." You had two rule books. The survival guide, which details the main game, if you like, the two-player game. And then you have the solo survival guide. And this is where you'll find the rules for the solo games. Okay, but where's the Nullitaire game? Where's the Nullitaire survival guide? It's not here. So where are the Nullitaire rules? Well, they're in the back, the last page of this book. So once again, Nullitaire, even though this is a game that advertises itself as a Nullitaire game on the box, that's great. It's a step forward for us Nullitaire gamers, we're finally getting some recognition. But then, in the rule book, where are we? Last page, not even mentioned on the cover. So, long way to go for full recognition for us Nullitaire gamers. And they don't even bother to put a player aid in the box for us. It's a bummer. Okay, now let's talk about the setup. You may have noticed that there are all these people just kind of lying around. Look like the whole village is dead. That's because these pieces would normally be standing up on these on these places here. It's just, it doesn't pick up very well on camera, so I'm lying them down like that just so we can see them a little bit better. But I also have to make it so that I can see the little coin icons that are on there, so they're sort of lying in sort of higgledy-piggledy fashion around the board to make it so that I can see those icons. Okay, but the setup of the game requires us to put a certain number of sheep into these pastures. Okay, there's some icons there in those pastures to indicate how many go there. And this is the wizard / monster piece. So the idea of this game is that the wizard is, by night becomes this horrible beast that goes around and eats sheep and people in the village. But by day, the wizard is a wizard who's trying to cure himself of this horrible affliction. And by night becomes a beast who is trying to become a legendary creature and stay in beast form forever. Okay, so it's kind of a tug-of-war style game, so we're going back and forth. Okay, the wizard, in order to cure this curse, is trying to move this token up this cure track. Okay, so it zigzags back and forth. And if the wizard can get the cure to the very last spot, the wizard wins. Okay, and so to do that, the wizard needs to collect various kinds of ingredients, represented by these pieces here, that he can buy from people around town, and go back to his laboratory and brew this potion in various steps. Okay, and has money to try to buy these ingredients, or he can steal money from people. He's not a very scrupulous wizard, apparently. Okay. And the beast, okay, well, this is the curse track, so the beast wants to get this curse all the way to the top. If the beast can do that, then they will stay in beast form forever and be a legendary creature. Okay, and the beast manages to do that by, eating the townsfolk. Okay, and the more townfolk that the beast eats, the higher the beast goes on that track. Okay, there's also panic that can happen in this town. So that's this little token here represents the panic. And so this is the villagers' attitude toward what's going on. And the higher this goes, the wizard starts to get some bonuses as the townspeople get more and more afraid. Okay, so that's essentially how the game plays. So I've put villagers all over the board. I drew them randomly. We have a bag up there with villager tokens in it. I drew them randomly and placed them around the board. And we also have a deck of spells here. So the wizard has all these spells they can cast. Okay. Not all the spells in the game are in here. We have these icons once again up in the corner. And so some cards are left out of this. We go up here and look at these cards. Some of these cards are only for the two-player game. And some of them are for the solo game against the wizard bot, but not for the Nullitaire game, where we also have the beast bot. Okay, so all those cards are removed. And the beast has a power deck, okay, which is similar to the spell deck. These are various powers that the beast has. And again, there are some removed from the full deck. Some that are just for the two-player game, and some that are for the solo game against the beast bot, but are not for the Nullitaire game. Okay, so all those cards have been removed, and we have a sort of smaller deck. Okay, and for the solo games, for the solo games and the Nullitaire game, we have these decks. So these are card-driven bots, essentially. Instead of flowcharts, we have this deck of cards. And so by drawing these cards and doing what it says, we find out what the bot will do. Okay, and we have a deck for the for the beast as well. Okay, so those will all be shuffled up before we begin. And I think that's it. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're ready to go. This is the setup according to the rules. And a little point here about coins. There's a spot on the wizard's board to place coins, this little purse spot right here. You're supposed to stack them there. But I find this very fiddly and they slide off each other really easily. So I'm just going to put them over there. Okay. Now, the rules for Nullitaire here are less than adequate for playing the game. We have to make some adjustments from what's actually said here. So just like in So You've Been Eaten, I feel like the game is an afterthought. The Nullitaire game is an afterthought to an afterthought, right? It's kind of like they expect you to buy this game and enjoy it, 2 players, learn that game first, and then, you know, if you like the game and no one else is around, you want to play it solo, go ahead and do that. There's 2 versions. You can play against either of the bots. And if you're really, really bored and you just want to joke around, do something silly, you can put the bots up against each other. They really don't expect someone like me to come along who's going to immediately go and try to play the Nullitaire game. And they've never played the 2-player game. I have no interest in the 2-player game. I have no interest in the solo game either, probably. I'm just interested in the Nullitaire game. Okay, but I'm, you know, it's an understatement to say that I'm a little unusual in the board gaming community, so to speak. Okay, but that's what I did. I went immediately to the Nullitaire game. I said, all right, a new Nullitaire game, let's play it. So I set it up just like this, just as it says in the rulebook, and then over here we're told how to play, but all we're given is references back to other parts of the rules. So the possessed wizard's turn, the wizard goes first. The possessed wizard turn works the same way as in the So You've Been Cursed by a Possessed Wizard game. Okay. A little annoying that I have to go over there. But here it is. Here's the Possessed Wizard's turn from that solo game. Okay, and you can just follow this, play this through. Okay, we get to the monster's turn. Fine. So we go back to the Nullitaire game, and then it says the Rabid Monster's turn. The monster's turn works the same way as in the So You've Been Cursed by a Rabid Monster game, with one exception. Okay, and then there's an exception, which is understandable. Whenever the monster eats a villager of the type depicted on the possessed wizard's card placed in front of them during the wizard's turn, the additional effect shown on the card is applied if possible. Okay, that makes perfect sense because during the wizard's turn, at the end of the turn, the wizard's going to give a card to the rabid monster, and that card will have a certain condition on it, such that if that condition is met, then something happens. Okay, that all makes sense. But when you go to the rabid monster's turn, and this is what happened to me when I tried to play the Nullitaire game. Here's the rabid monster turn from the solo version of this game. Okay, we get to, okay, it takes a power, okay, and then it takes actions right here. For its first action, the rabid monster will try to eat a villager of the type depicted on the first rabid monster card used by the wizard. Problem is, in the solo version of this game that uses the possessed wizard, the wizard doesn't do that. There are no monster cards used by the wizard. That only happens in this version, in this solo version. So, if you play it according to the rules, right, the Nullitaire rules, it says, oh, just play the wizard the way the wizard's played in the solo game with the wizard bot. And then it says, just play the monster the way it's played in the solo game with the monster bot. That actually doesn't work. Because in the solo game with the monster has to deal out some cards, and that restricts what the wizard can do. But in the solo game with the wizard, that's not true. Those aren't there. So the rules you get for playing the wizard bot doesn't mention those at all. And it's only when you get to playing the monster bot that those are mentioned. And it's like, what? What cards are you talking about? The rules for the wizard bot don't say anything about those cards. Okay, so we're just going to have to figure out some way of playing this that makes sense. And I think the way to do it is that the wizard starts with 3 cards face up here, which is mentioned in setup. But it says in the setup that the monster doesn't have any cards in play. But that actually doesn't work, because in the solo version with the wizard bot, there's supposed to be some monster cards here that restrict what the wizard can do. So those have to be there. There have to be 4 of these out. Okay. And when the wizard takes one of these actions, then that card becomes the next card in line for what the beast is going to do. Right? If the wizard did this top action, which is to play a spell card, then this would become sort of in the queue for what the beast is going to do on its turn, which will be whatever's in the bottom. Try to eat a farmer, in this case. If you don't have these cards, right? If the wizard didn't, if those cards weren't there and the wizard just played according to the wizard bot rules, which is just to use these cards, and those cards aren't even there, right? Because there's a human playing the beast in that case, not this AI bot over here. So the wizard bot, the way it's written, doesn't pay any attention to those because they're not there in the solo version. But in the solo version where you have the beast, those are there, and the human player has to abide by these. This restricts what the human player can do. They can only do the actions that are there, and whatever those actions they do, that determines what the beast is going to do on their turn. So anyway, if we're going to combine these bots together, we have to put these out. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Okay. And the rulebook doesn't mention this at all. Doesn't make, the way the rulebook is written, this is senseless. It doesn't make any sense the way it's written. So to combine the two together, I think what we have to do is we have to say, okay, the wizard is going to try to do these 3 things, the things at the top here. But they are constrained. The wizard's also constrained by the 4 cards that are here. So in this case, for example, the wizard wants to steal. That's this first thing. So we have to check and see if stealing is an option. In this case, no. Okay, in that case, that means the wizard can't do that. That would be discarded without effect. Then the wizard wants to play a spell. Is that possible? Yes, here. Okay, so the wizard plays the spell, and this goes into the beast's queue to determine what the beast will do on their turn. Okay, and then that's discarded. And then the next thing, the wizard would like to buy an ingredient at the market. And we have 3 cards. Let's say they can buy an ingredient. The way I do this, I just take the first one, reading left to right, that has that icon on it, and that would go in the queue. Okay, and then that would be the end of the turn. I mean, there's some other things to do, but when we get to the beast's turn, now this indicates how the beast will behave. First try to eat a farmer, then try to eat a butcher. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Again, this is not in the rulebook. The Nullitaire game as written in the rulebook doesn't make any sense, because when you get to the monster's turn, these cards just aren't there. Right, because the wizard bot doesn't work like that in the solo version with the wizard. So the only way these cards get there is if we have them out, and what the wizard does determines which of these cards get selected for the beast. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. But this seems to me the most plausible way to mix them together. So we're going to play it like that. Okay, we're finally ready to play. Now we have the turn sequence, like I said here, possessed wizard on this side and the rabid monster on that side. But we also have on each player board a sort of pictographic abbreviated version of the turn for each one. Okay, so I'm going to try to just stick with that as much as possible. Okay. So first thing, and the wizard goes first in every game. So the first thing is a new villager arrives. So you draw a villager from the bag, you roll a 20-sided die, and you place that villager at the corresponding space. There are 20 spaces. Well, that's not true. There are more than 20 spaces, but there are 20 houses on the board where villagers can reside. All right, but at the beginning of the game, all the houses are full. There are 20 villagers on the map, so no new villagers can arrive. So for the first turn of the game, we skip that. Okay, next thing is that the wizard will play a spell. So that simply means we draw the top card from the spell deck and play it. Okay, now there's usually costs associated with playing spells ignored for the bots. Instead, they just get the benefits, whatever they are. Okay, so this one's called Butcher's Broth. This symbol means it's simply played and then discarded. It doesn't have a lasting effect. The wizard gets a certain number of coins each time a spell is played, so I like to do that first because I tend to forget about it if I do the other thing first. Okay, so there's two actions on this one for the human wizard and one for the wizard bot. Okay, so this is telling us that if the next needed ingredient is either the black ingredient or the white ingredient. Okay, the white ingredient is a wishbone, the black ingredient is a claw, I think, a talon of some sort. Okay, if it's one of those two, then we move the cure up one. Okay, but it isn't. The next one on the way is this green one right here. This is the first spot. Okay, the track kind of goes like this. It goes winds up and winds up and winds up. That's the last space. Okay, so this did nothing except give 5 coins to the wizard. Okay, that's discarded. Put it over there. And move on to the next thing. Okay, and there are 2 possibilities here. If the wizard has the next 3 ingredients right now, okay, these pouches right here hold ingredients. So if the wizard had a green, a brown, and a black there, then the wizard would want to do this top action here, which is to head to the laboratory and use those 3 ingredients to move the cure up 3 spaces. Okay, if that's not the case, then the wizard will try to do 3 actions according to these cards. All right, and that's what the wizard's going to do here. The first thing, so moving from left to right, first thing the wizard would like to do is try to buy some ingredients without moving districts. Okay, those symbols there mean don't cross a bridge and don't cross a wall. Okay, so you notice the town has walls here and it has some bridges. All right, and those separate districts. There's a district here, there's a district here, one up there at the top, and then one over here. Okay, and each district has 5 houses in it. All right, so our wizard is right here at the laboratory and wants to buy the next ingredient. The next ingredient is that green one there, which can be bought from a farmer who's also green, nice, color-coded. And so the wizard would like to buy that ingredient from one of those 2 farmers. And when there's a choice, the wizard will go with the cheaper option. That's why we need to see the little coins down there. Costs 4 to buy that ingredient from this farmer, costs only 2 to buy it from that farmer. Okay, but remember we also need to make sure that the beast bot will allow it. We have to make sure that this is an available option. And it is right here. This is the first one where we're buying an ingredient. Okay, so the wizard will do this. The wizard will move over here. It's a little hard to place things. It all gets very crowded very quickly. Okay, and the wizard can move in the same district without any problem. It's when the wizard wants to move districts that it will cost them. They have to pay a little bit of money in order to hire a carriage they got to get a taxi basically to go further afield. But if they're just staying in the same district, they can move anywhere, no problem. Okay, so the wizard moves there easily and wants to spend 2 coins, okay, to buy that I don't know, mandrake root, I think this is called. Okay, so that is the first action. That is completed. Okay, we can just put that back on the deck. And so this first buying of a ingredient will go to the queue, like I said, for the, let's just put it there. For the, let's put it there. So don't mistake it for a discard pile. For the beast. Okay, that will determine what the beast will do on its turn. Okay, and then we just go to the next one. The next thing the wizard would like to do is steal. And this time from an adjacent district. So they want to move to an adjacent district and steal from somebody. So we have to check and see if stealing is an option, given the beast bot's available actions, and it is. It's over here. Okay, so the wizard can do this. And so wants to do it in an adjacent district, right? That's what the bridge and the wall icon mean. If they're crossed out, that means the same district. If they're not crossed out, that means an adjacent district. Okay, so the wizard wants to move to an adjacent district, so either that dark green one up there or this yellow one over here, and he wants to steal. So he'll go to the house that has the most coins, the sort of richest house in the neighborhood. So there's a butcher over here that has 4 coins. So again, we're looking at the coin icons that are actually on the board. Okay. Now you might notice there's 5 on that marketplace, but nobody lives there. That's just the marketplace. Can't steal from the marketplace. Okay, and then there's another butcher. Okay, butchers are wealthy in this town. Also worth 4 coins. Okay, so those are tied for adjacent districts with the most. Those are tied for a house in an adjacent district with the most money. Okay, when there's a tie, the wizard will go to the highest number house. That house is number 2. This house is number 13. So the wizard will go over here, try to steal from this butcher. Because the wizard had to cross a wall, they have to hire a carriage to go over there and now try to steal. It's a little bit weird, right? I mean, what kind of state of mind is this? Let me hire a taxi to go over to that butcher I know in the neighboring town and try to steal some money from him. The taxi will cost me 1 coin, but I could manage to steal 4 from the butcher. Okay, I guess you make out, but this is not a guaranteed action. Okay, so the wizard has to roll. There's a chance that the wizard would fail. And in fact, it's actually a decent chance because the wizard has to roll a number higher than the number of coins the wizard's trying to steal. Now in the 2-player version, or in the single-player version, in the 2-player version or in the solo version against the beast bot, a human player anyway has to declare how many coins they want to try to steal. So they don't have to try to steal all 4. They could try to steal 1 or 2 or 3. Okay. The rules are not real clear on this as far as the bots are concerned, but I think the wizard always tries to steal maximum. That's not explicitly said as far as I can tell, but I think it's always maximum. So let's roll on that and see if the wizard can get a 5 or a 6. That's a 4. Okay, bummer. So the wizard was detected by the butcher, but interestingly nothing happens. Like the butcher doesn't call the cops or anything. And again, if a human's playing the wizard, there's now an option to spend an extra action and automatically succeed, but the bot does not have this option. Okay, so this action did not actually succeed, but the wizard did take the action, so that card still goes to the monster. Okay, next action is again an adjacent district, and this time buy an ingredient from a villager. By the way, in the rule book there's this handy page of possessed wizard actions which details these actions on these cards. So what to do in case of a tie and things like that. Okay, so in this case we're on this one. So buy ingredient from adjacent district. Okay, and this tells us that we want to try to buy the next ingredient Oh, okay, so in this case, we already have the green one, so we want the brown one next. Okay, so we're looking for a woodcutter, so the brown villagers, in an adjacent district. Okay, well, we're right in the center district, so all the other districts are adjacent. Okay, and so when there's a tie, what do we do? We want to go for the cheapest one, of course. Okay, and then if tied for cost, it'll choose the closest location among the tied ones. If still tied, the location with the highest number is chosen. Okay, so first we want the cheapest one. Well, there's a couple of places where the wizard could move to an adjacent district and pay only 1 coin. So up here is a woodcutter that has only 1 coin. Down here is a woodcutter with only 1 coin, and here's another one. Okay, so those are all tied for 1. And so which one is the closest? The next tiebreaker is closest. So presumably that means the fewest moves to get there. And I think that would be here. Yes, okay. So here, the wizard will move there. And again, cross the wall, so that's going to cost 1. Again, a little bit silly, right? The wizard goes out for the day, spends $2 on cab rides to try to steal 4 from a butcher. Okay, this is a strange wizard. Okay, and then they're going to spend 1 coin to buy that ingredient from the woodcutter. Okay, so that's that done, and that means this card goes into the queue. So now the last thing on the wizard's turn, they've done the 3 actions. Next thing is to collect all of the bot cards together. Okay, there's no discard pile for these cards, they get shuffled at the end of every turn, and deal out 3 more. Okay, so I've done that. Collected all the cards together, shuffled them up, dealt 3 more. And then lastly, give 1 card to the beast. Okay, and that's what I've done here. This is the wizard's, one of the wizard's cards. Okay, what this does is it has a certain condition on it. In this case, eating a farmer. So if the beast eats a farmer anytime, the beast eats a farmer during the next turn, the wizard gains $2. Not really sure thematically how to make sense of that, but anyway, that's the way it works. Okay, and then we have those 3 cards that we obtained by the wizard doing actions. So that will determine what the beast wants to do, and we have to be aware of this condition that can give the wizard bot some extra money. So the monster's turn now. That means the wizard becomes the monster. Okay. And is in the same space, right? Because it's the same body. Okay. Basically, night has fallen and the wizard is turned into this beast. Okay. So now, following the beast's turn, first thing is a power. So the beast will simply draw this card and do whatever it says. On the scent. So this means that a new, an extra card will be added to this queue. Okay, so a 4th card is added to the queue. So the beast will take 4 actions this turn, potentially. Okay, and a reminder, there is this power card index, which gives details of these cards. If it's not clear from just the iconography, you can look there. Okay. So now the next thing is the beast is going to use these cards for their actions. So first thing here, the beast would like to eat a butcher. Okay, so we look to see where the beast is right here, and we look to see if there's a butcher within 2 spaces from where the beast is now. And I don't think that is true. Butchers are sort of further away. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces to that butcher. Seems to be the closest. Okay, so if they're 2 spaces away, the beast will simply move there and eat them. That's it. But if they're 3 spaces away, then the beast may move there, but would have to be next to a pasture with sheep in it, and would eat a sheep first and then move the 3 spaces. I guess the beast gets some extra energy from eating a sheep that enables him to move 3 spaces. That makes sense to me, I guess, anyway. But in this case, there's no way for the beast to get to a butcher because there's no pasture with sheep adjacent to where the beast is now. Okay, so this action will do nothing. So the next action is the beast would like to eat a farmer. And there is a farmer just one space away, right over there. That farmer is 3 spaces away. That's too far. Okay, so the beast will simply move to that farmer's location and gobble up that farmer. It goes right there. Okay, but you have to remember, whenever a farmer is eaten by the beast, the wizard gets 2 coins. Okay. So the wizard makes a bit of money. Maybe that's subconsciously why the beast wanted to eat a farmer. I don't know. Okay, so that's out. Okay, next, would like to eat a woodcutter. That should be easy. 2 woodcutters here. Within 1. So that's a tie. Okay, and I think I have to look up what the tiebreaker is. Okay, it says if there are multiple options, the location with the highest number is chosen. That's usually the way it goes. It's usually just the highest number. Okay, so in this case we have 7 and 10. 10's the higher one, so we'll move back there and eat this woodcutter. Okay, wizard doesn't get any money for that. Okay, and last one, would like to eat a hunter. Okay, well there's a hunter here. One way up there. Okay, within 2. 1, 2, yeah. No, there's no road there. Never mind. 2, 3, it's 3 away. Okay, it's 3 away, and there's no sheep adjacent to this to eat, so hunter is not on the menu today. Okay, no hunter. So the last bit of the monster's turn is we determine the outcome as far as panic and the curse are concerned. So this tells us if the beast ate no villagers this turn, then panic is decreased by 1. That's nice. The villages... a night goes without a villager being eaten. That's nice for the village. Okay. If the beast eats 1 villager, then both panic and the curse go up by 1. Okay, so panic and the curse go up by 1. If 2 villagers, they go up by 2, and if 3 villagers, they go up by 3. Okay, so that's all pretty straightforward. So we have 2 villagers here. They will go back into the bag in just a moment. And the panic goes up by 2, and the curse goes up by 2. Okay, back to the wizard's turn. And again, we've laid out 4 of the beast cards over here. Okay, first thing is a villager arrives. Okay, and this time there are some available spaces, 8 and 10 here, where 2 villagers were eaten. So a villager could arrive, could show up in one of those 2 spaces. So we do have to draw one this time. We drew a villager, it's a hunter, and we roll the 20-sided die. It's a 1. Okay. And obviously the 1 space already has somebody in it. So we take the available number that's closest to the rolled number. So in this case, 8 is closer to 1 than 10 is. So the new villager will move in right there. Okay, next thing is play a spell card. So in this case, it is Distract. So the wizard will get 5 tokens, first of all. Take care of that first. Okay, now let's see what happens. Again, it's different from a human and the bot. So I'm not sure what this means, so I'll have to look it up. Okay, so here it is. Discard the leftmost permanent power card from in front of the monster. Okay, and that makes sense of the iconography, right? These infinity signs means those are permanent power cards. So discarding the leftmost one makes sense. Okay, but the beast doesn't have any permanent power cards in play. The power card they played on the last turn was a one-time use, not a permanent one. Okay, so this does nothing but give the wizard 5 coins. All right, so now let's go to the actions. Once again, if the wizard has the next 3 ingredients needed for the cure, which would be green, brown, black, then the wizard will just head to the laboratory and try to mix up a cure. But The wizard has only 2 of those ingredients right now. So we'll not do that. Instead, we'll go and use the cards down here, just like last turn. Okay, first action, they want to buy an ingredient from a neighboring, from a neighboring district. Right. Okay. Okay, the next ingredient is the black ingredient, which is a wolf's claw, I think is what that is. So it needs a hunter to buy that from. Of course, there's a hunter right there, but no, the wizard wants to go wants to, make a day of it and go go outside the walls and see the countryside, I guess. Okay, so 2 neighboring districts that have a hunter in it. There's one up here, but that one costs 3. This one down here costs 2. So that's the cheaper option. The wizard will go there. It's going to cost 1 to hire the carriage to go there, and 2 for the ingredient, so that's 3. Okay, let me pick that up. Good. So that's the end of that. Of course, I should have checked to see if buying an ingredient was available, but that one's almost always available because it's so common. Okay, but here's the first instance of it here, so that will go into the beast queue. Next action for the wizard is stealing from the same district that he's in, and this is available as an action. So this district here, the richest person here is that butcher again. The wizard really wants those 4 coins over there. Okay, so going to head over there and try to steal those 4 coins from that butcher again. So it has to roll a 5 or a 6 to manage this. Let's see. That's a 1. But the wizard did try it, so the beast does get that card. Okay, and the last one is the wizard would like to buy an ingredient at the marketplace. And the marketplace is this central space right here where you can buy any ingredient, where the wizard can buy any ingredient for 5 gold. But the thing is, the wizard has 3 ingredients already, and they're the next 3 ingredients. So the wizard is not going to try to do this after all. For all of these buy ingredient actions, they all start with, if the possessed wizard does not already hold the next ingredient needed to advance the cure track, they'll seek to buy it. Which is a little bit weird. I mean, the next ingredient needed. The next ingredient needed is this green one. In one way of reading, next ingredient needed. And the wizard does have it, meaning it's there. So, but that's weird. Obviously, if the wizard only had the green one, that's the next one needed, then literally they wouldn't try to buy the brown one. But I don't think that's what's meant. I think it's a little, it's poorly worded. Okay. In any case, so I think we should read it as, if the wizard doesn't already have the next 3 ingredients, or however many are left to complete to win the game, then they'll try it. I think that's how we're supposed to read it. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. If the possessed wizard does not have enough coins to move to the market and buy the ingredients, then the action is skipped. Okay. The wizard does have enough coins, but there's no space for any more ingredients here, so this action will be skipped. Okay. So now we will, the wizard will shuffle up the deck, deal out 3 new cards, and give 1 to the beast. Okay, the beast is back. So first thing is play a power card. So we have Stunned Stag, okay, which simply moves the curse up 1. Okay, just like that. That's it. That's all it does. Okay, and then we play the cards in order. First card. Oh, by the way, this is the wizard card. Remember, the beast gets 1 of these. So if the beast eats a butcher, then the beast loses 1 energy, which I find incredibly weird. The beast bot doesn't use energy, right? That's those pieces over there that we were told aren't used in this game. So this really doesn't do anything. The beast doesn't have any energy. I find that a little weird. But again, these are designed for solo play first and foremost. You think they would have just, like, since we're taking other cards out, you know, why don't they just put a slash through when we're playing against an automated beast opponent, like they do with other cards, and then this would just be removed. But they didn't do that. So anyway, this card's in the deck, so I guess it's just a freebie for the monster. All right, so first, want to eat a butcher, and look at that. There's a butcher right there. That butcher that keeps catching the wizard trying to steal. So the wizard by night turns into a beast and says, "I'll show you." Nom nom. Okay, so that butcher is no more, and the beast should lose some energy, but doesn't have any. Okay, next is the beast would like to eat a merchant. Okay, well, there happens to be a merchant nearby, right over there. There's another one over there. That's too far away, I think. Okay, now here's an interesting point. In the two-player game, the beast is not allowed to move through houses that are occupied. Okay, so when the beast comes to a house, they have to stop there. That's occupied, excuse me. They have to stop there. They can't move through it and go on. Okay. In the solo game, and presumably also in the Nullitaire game, that's not mentioned. It simply says if the beast can get to the next potential victim and it's 2 or fewer spaces away, then the beast just does it. So it's unclear whether the beast is allowed to move through spaces, whether the automated beast here is allowed to move through spaces that are occupied. In this particular case, it's moot because the beast could simply go that way. Okay, but anyway, I thought I'd mention it. All right, so eat up the merchant there. Okay, and that's it for that. All right, that's all for beast actions. Managed to eat 2 villagers, so panic goes up by 2. And that will cause a certain thing to happen in a moment, and the curse goes up by 2. These 2 go back into the bag. So this icon here, which the panic marker has finally hit, says that when the wizard deals out that card to the beast, the wizard will now deal out 2 cards. So it's going to be +1 card. And these are cumulative, by the way. That will be true all the way up this track. Okay, so that's true unless the panic manages to come back below this line. That'll be true for the rest of the game. Okay, that is the end of the beast turn. Back to the wizard's turn. So we've dealt out all the cards. First thing is a new villager arrives. So we'll draw one and see where it goes. So it's a hunter again. And the roll is a 9. Okay, well, there's already someone living in house 9, but 10 is available. It's the closest number available, so the hunter goes there. Okay, next thing is the wizard will play a spell. To draw the next spell, it is Unholy Protection. It's kind of just the same as last card, isn't it? I mean, they have different names, but it looks like it's the same. Oh no, it's the wizard here instead of the beast. Okay, better look at this. Anyway, the wizard gets 4, and I'm going to see what this means. Oh, I see. Okay, so discard the leftmost permanent power card from in front of the possessed wizard. Okay, because there are some power cards that actually give a handicap to the wizard. So yeah, so the wizard would eliminate one of those, but there aren't any. So again, this does nothing except give the wizard some money. Okay, next thing is this time the wizard does have the next 3 ingredients needed for the cure. That's the red, the brown, and the black, the next 3 ingredients needed. So instead of doing this first action here, simply discard the first card and head to the laboratory to mix up some ingredients. Okay, so the wizard will have to pay 1 in order to move to the next district, and then we'll mix a cure. We have to make sure, actually I should have done this first, make sure that that is an available action. There it is, that's the cure. So it is an available action. So there we go. And when the wizard mixes a cure, he can go as far as he wants to as long as he has the needed ingredients. Oh, I forgot, that's not how that works. No, we take this. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then just discard these. Okay, mixing a cure. And by the way, I just realized that I forgot to mention it during the last wizard's turn, but the wizard didn't try to mix up a cure during that turn after they'd picked up the third ingredient, simply because this action wasn't available in the beast's available actions area, I guess is what you'd call that. Okay, so they weren't. So the wizard wasn't able to actually do that last turn. This time, that action was available, so the wizard does that. Okay, on to the next action. Well, try to buy the next ingredient in the current district. Next ingredient is gold. You can kind of see there's a tiny little arrow there pointing. The arrows kind of point along this route. They're not easy to see, but so gold is next. So if there were a merchant in the current district, the wizard would try to buy some gold, but there isn't. So, never mind. That action does nothing. Next one, try to steal from the current district. Okay, who has the most money here? This farmer over here is doing well. It's 4. So, going to go over there, try to steal 4 coins from that farmer. If stealing is available, and it is right there. Okay. So must roll a 4 or 5 to succeed at this. Oops. What is it? 2. All right. I re-rolled it. I always re-roll dice that fall on the floor, so it was a 5. So the wizard does succeed in stealing those 4 coins this time. Okay, back to the beast's turn. Now the beast gets 2 cards now because of the panic track. This time, again, an energy one that doesn't do anything. But this other one, if the beast eats a butcher, then it's 2 coins for the wizard. Okay, first thing is a power card. Digestive mutton chop. Okay, so anytime this turn that the monster eats a sheep, then the curse goes up 1. Okay, that's what that says. Okay, so we'll see if the monster manages to eat any sheep. First, wants to eat a woodcutter. Or, sorry, that's not a woodcutter. That's a hunter. Sorry, wants to eat a hunter. Okay, there are a couple hunters nearby. This one's only 2 away. Can move here. Get to that one. Can't get to that one. Can't get to that one. Okay, so the beast will go here, gobble up that hunter. Okay, nothing, no conditions on hunters, so that's fine. Okay, next we'd like to eat a farmer. Oh, we're going to head right back to where they were. Yeah, that's the only farmer on this side of the board. The other farmers are way over there. And can get to that farmer in 2. So there we go. Eat that farmer. Okay. And that would lose them in energy if they had any. Alright, well that's the end of the beast's turn. So, managed to eat up 2 villagers. Didn't eat any sheep, as it turns out. But both panic and the curse go up by 2. Okay, and then we have another new condition because of the panic. Back to the wizard's turn. So this new place on the panic track here means that we skip the add a villager part of each wizard turn now, which is the very first step. So we're skipping this step as long as the panic track remains at that position or higher. Okay, so that's going to start to dwindle our town and limit the diet of the beast. Okay, so we skip that step. Next step, though, is the spell step. So draw a spell. The Revenant. Okay, well, going to get 5 coins for the wizard, and I'm going to add a villager after all, because that's what this spell does. Okay, we drew a woodcutter this time, and rolled a 20. Okay, well, no one's even been to this district over here yet, I don't think, where the higher numbers are. So we go to the closest number. I wonder if we're supposed to wrap the numbers around, though. Like, is 1... is 1 closer than, say, 18 to 20? I don't know. Anyway, the closest number, I think, will be 15. The only numbers available are 8, 13, 15, and 6 over here where the wizard is. So, closest number, 15. Alright. Okay, on to wizard actions. Well, the wizard does not have enough, doesn't have anything to mix a cure, so we'll just go down here. The wizard would like to buy an ingredient. Okay, and this just means buy it from anywhere. Whatever the next ingredient is, it's gold, wherever you can get it for the cheapest. Okay, well, there's only one merchant on the map, actually, way over here, which is at least 2 districts away. So, and it would cost 3. Okay, but the wizard has plenty of money. So buying an ingredient is an available action. So the wizard spent 5 coins, 2 to get over here and 3 to purchase from the merchant, and picked up some gold. Okay, so that one is done. And we take the first buy ingredients. There we are. Okay, still does not have 3, so we carry on. Next, play a spell card. That is an available action, so the wizard will do it. Leftovers. Okay. Get 2 coins and reduce the curse by 1. Alright. Get some change there. And the curse comes down by 1. Okay, that's the spell. That's done. This spell card will go to the queue there. Still does not have 3, so carry on. Would like to buy in an adjacent district. The next needed ingredient is the wishbone, so it needs a butcher in an adjacent district. Well, there's only one adjacent district down here. There's a butcher in their current district, but this very specifically says an adjacent district. The wizard's like, no, I don't want that butcher. I want the butcher in the district next door. But, sir, there is no butcher in the district next to this one. The beast ate him 3 nights ago. Ah, well then, I'll just hang out here. Okay, so that gets discarded. Nothing happens. All right, that's the end of actions for the wizard. So they'll shuffle up their cards and deal out 3 and give 2 to the beast. So the beast again. Okay, we start with a power card, which is Noble Blood. And we simply move the curse back up again. Okay, there we go. Alright, this time, here are the cards from the wizard. That one doesn't do anything because it's energy. So, eat a hunter, and the wizard gets 2. It looks like the beast will want to try to do that. But first, try to eat a farmer. Okay, that's easy enough. There's a farmer here, but there's also a farmer there. That's 2 spaces away, 1 space away. Okay, so can take either one. I think we'll go with the higher number in this case, but let me double check that. Yes, that was correct. It goes with the higher number in case there's more than one can get to within a movement of 2. Okay, and that would lose it some energy if it had any. Next, try to eat a hunter. I think too far away from hunters now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There's a hunter that's 3 away. Okay, and the beast is next to a pasture with some sheep. But now we do have that issue of, the beast would have to go through a house that has somebody in it. But look, I think it's okay. I think the beast can do that. The rules just say within 1 or 2 for the solo game, and it doesn't mention at all having to stop. Even though the 2-player game does say that. In the 2-player game, the beast is not allowed to move through a house that's occupied. It has to stop there. Okay, but I think in this game, it's okay. Reading the rules literally. Okay. I don't think we can get to that hunter. No, it's too far away. Okay, well, if the desired victim is 3 spaces away, and the beast is next to a pasture with sheep, then what the beast does is simply eat a sheep, and then move the 3 spaces to eat that villager. And we're told that they go in the same stomach spot. These are stomachs. I don't know why. I guess the beast has 3 stomachs. I don't know. Okay. Okay, there you go. So that's the last one there. And the beast just ate a hunter, so the wizard gets 2 coins for that. There we go. And the beast managed to eat 2 villagers, so they will go back to the bag, and that will move up the curse by 2, and we'll move up panic by 2, and that gives us a new thing to deal with. This sheep, by the way, it just goes back to supply. That's it. There can be some special things like that power card from before, but it doesn't seem to do anything other than that. Okay, back to the wizard's turn. Okay, back to the wizard's turn. Now we have to think about this new space on the panic track. Panic is getting out of control in the town. And that new space means that the wizard now gets 4 actions on his turn. So we drew an extra card for the wizard now here. Alright, so let's take a look. Again, we're skipping adding a villager because the panic is so high, but still play a spell. We have the negotiation charm. Okay, so buying an ingredient from a villager costs 2 less this turn, is what that says, and the wizard gets 1 coin. Okay, on to the actions round. Remember, the wizard gets 4 this time. Does not have the next 3 ingredients, so we'll go to the first card. Okay, it says buy an ingredient from anywhere, and that action is available, as it usually is. So we'll try to buy a wishbone here. That's the next action. So it wants a butcher and wants to spend the least amount of money possible. It would cost 2 to go to this butcher. That butcher over there is also 2, but it would also cost 2 more to cross these bridges, so that would cost 4 actually. Okay, and the one over there would cost 6. The butcher way over there. Okay, so this is the cheapest butcher. Don't have to pay any for travel, just have to pay the 2, but negotiation charm. You will sell me your wishbone. Yes, sir, I will give it to you for free. 2 minus 2 is 0, so it just picks up a free wishbone. Okay. By the way, the spell card index up here tells us that it reduces it to a minimum of 0. Okay, so that's the first action. Buy an ingredient, and we take the first one available there, add it to the beast's actions. Okay, still don't have 3, so we continue on. Buy the next one. That would be the wolf's claw from a hunter. Well, there's a hunter over there that's charging 2, but it would cost 1 to get over there, so that would cost 3. This one only costs 1, but it would cost 2 to get there, so that one's also 3. That one is 3, but it would cost 2 to get there, so that one would be 5. Actually, yeah, these would cost the same. Okay, they would actually cost 1 because we are taking away 2. Okay, so those cost the same. Which one will the wizard take? I believe the wizard goes to the closest one in this case, so it will be here. Okay, so pay 1 to get across there. Definitely have to pay that. And then this costs nothing. So again, give me your Wolf's Claw. Negotiation charm. Okay, free Wolf's Claw. There we go. That's that one. Okay, let's do that one there. Alright, well now the wizard does have enough to go mix up a charm, or mix up a cure. Except unfortunately mixing a cure is not an available action for the wizard here. So the wizard will not try to do that. Instead, try to steal from their current district instead. Okay, well this nobleman up there has 3. Okay, that's the most. So I'm going to go there and try to steal. Steal is an available action, by the way. Okay, needs to roll higher than a 3. So 50-50 shot. Let's see how it goes. It is a 4. Okay. Success. Stole from a nobleman. So get 3 coins for that. Okay, the last action is to buy an ingredient, but there's no more space. The wizard can't carry anymore. And anyway, buying an ingredient is not an available action right now. Okay, so that action is lost. All right, so now shuffle up, deal out 4 new cards, because the wizard gets 4 actions now, and give 2 to the beast. The beast's turn now, starting with playing a power card. Squeaky Boots. I think this is the first permanent card we've seen. That's really surprising. Okay, but this gets played on to the wizard. It's played to the wizard and it's a permanent card. And this makes it so that when the wizard tries to steal, he has to roll 2 dice and take the lower roll. Yeah, not sure what that bottom part means. I know that part. I'll have to look that one up. Okay, anyway, this goes on the wizard, and it will affect the wizard's ability to steal. Okay, here it is. The card's discarded after the wizard succeeds in a steal roll. That's what that bottom part means. So if the wizard if the wizard succeeds at a steal, then this is discarded. That's what that's saying. All right. Okay, these are the wizard cards that the beast has to deal with. If the beast eats a merchant, the wizard gets 3 coins. If the beast eats a hunter, the wizard gets 2. And both of those are potential victims this evening. First on the menu is a hunter. So the beast is here, and ooh, there's a hunter within 2 easily. Well, there's another one up there within 2. Okay. The beast, by the way, doesn't care about districts. Just cross over those. In the regular game, there are guards on the bridges and on the walls. And so when the beast crosses over into other districts, some action might happen as the beast interacts with guards. But not in the solo game with the beast bot. Okay, so will the beast go there or there? Both are within 2. I think the beast goes for the higher number in this case, so we'll go to 12 and eat that hunter there. Okay, but that gives the wizard 2 coins. Next is a woodcutter. There are 3 woodcutters within range. The one over here, the one here, and the one over here. So again, going with the higher number, we'll skip over that lucky woodcutter and eat that one instead. Okay, so that's that. Nothing happens here with those. Okay, now try to eat a merchant. There's only 1 merchant on the board, and I think it's just too far away for the beast to get to. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 3 away. And right next to a sheep pasture. So eat the sheep and go 1, 2, 3 and eat the merchant. Okay. And the wizard gets 3 coins when that happens. There are only 2 coins left in the bank, so the wizard has busted the bank. That's the maximum amount of money the wizard can have. Okay. Well, that's the end of the turn for the beast. Notice 8-3 this time, so 1, 2, 3, and panic is maxed. Okay, these villagers will go back to the bag, and the sheep is just discarded. Back to the wizard's turn. The wizard is always waking up in a sheep pasture on the other side of town. That's gotta be weird. Okay, we're still skipping adding a villager because panic is so high, but we next so we play a spell card. Okay, sticky fingers. So stealing counts double this turn. Don't get any coins in this. Not the can't get it anyway because the bank is bankrupt. Okay, but stealing is doubled this turn. Okay, well, first thing is that the wizard has the next 3, so would like to mix up a cure and can do it. It is available, so we got to get the wizard back to his laboratory. It will cost 2 coins to do that. Okay, and so instead of doing this will be discarded. The wizard will mix up a cure. So the next 3, gold, wishbone, and wolf's claw. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so those are done. And so take the first mix cure. Okay, that is the first action for the wizard. Okay, next, wizard wants to play a spell. Is that available? Yep, can play a spell. So next card, Forager's Feast. Okay, the wizard will get 5 coins. Well, just the 2 that are there. Okay, and this says if the next ingredient needed for the cure is either the green or the brown, the mandrake root or the can't remember what kind of tree branch that is, but whatever it is. And it is, the next one is the brown one, then the wizard gets it for free. So that just moves up 1, just like that. And if the wizard had that ingredient here, it would just be removed. Okay. But the wizard doesn't, so it's just for free. Okay, there you go. So the wizard plays a spell, that's this one. Okay, and the next, the wizard would like to steal from an adjoining district. Okay, 2 things. Oh wait, the wizard needs to get these 2 coins. I forgot that, because that spell gave him 5. So it gets whatever's left. Okay, so stealing, there's no money to steal, so that won't do anything. Even though it would be doubled for sticky fingers. Well, we do have these squeaky boots, you know. Succeeding at trying to steal would at least do something. It would get rid of this card. So it's not like stealing couldn't do anything at all. It could do something. It could remove this. And I'm not really sure whether maybe the wizard would do it anyway, even if there was no money and couldn't get anything from it. It would happen anyway. I don't think the rulebook says anything about that. Okay, but I think the wizard will try it. I mean, at least we'll try to get rid of these squeaky boots. Okay, a couple of points here. Yes, as I suspected, when steal is mentioned here in the possessed wizard's actions, it doesn't say anything about what to do if there's no money in the bank. It just says, try to steal. Okay, so I think the possessed wizard would try to steal even if there were no money to actually get. Okay, but another more pressing issue is that stealing is not actually an available option because it's not over here on any of the beast bots actions. So actually this action won't do anything and this one won't do anything either. So that's the end of the wizard's turn. Just shuffle up and deal out 4 cards for himself and 2 cards for the beast. I guess now that I think of it, it's also probably pretty weird for the beast to wake up in some kind of crazy laboratory instead of waking up in a sheep pasture. Okay, but it is the beast's turn now. So the beast has 2 cards here, 2 of the wizard cards to contend with. Doesn't much matter because again the bank has no money to give the wizard anyhow. So I guess those won't do anything. But first, we have to give a power card to the monster. A taste of rural life. Okay, interesting. Not really sure what this does. Looks like we're going to roll the die and just eat some villagers. Okay. Okay, this is what a taste of rural life says on the power card index. Roll the 20-sided die twice. Eat any villager in the corresponding houses. If at least one villager was eaten, curse is increased by 1. If this card is drawn during a quiet night turn, shuffle it back into the deck and draw another. Quiet night turns don't exist with the bot. That's just something for human players. Okay, so we're just going to roll the 20-sided die twice and eat up some villagers. Okay, let's see. First roll is 18. I find this die hard to read. I think that says 18. Okay. 18. There's a butcher there. Okay, eat up the butcher. Does the beast have to move there? I mean, it's really weird to... I mean, it just says eat a villager in the corresponding house. But it's awfully strange to eat a villager without moving there. Okay. Let's just roll the die again and we'll worry about that issue in a moment. Okay, next roll is 19. Okay, I think 19 is empty. Yeah, nobody there. Okay. Interesting. So 2 questions. Does the beast have to move to eat the butcher in 18? And then secondly, does the monster move to 19 even though there's no one there to eat? On consideration, I think the answer to both of those questions has to be yes. I mean, just for obvious thematic reasons. Like, how can the beast eat a villager across town without actually going there? That doesn't make any sense. But even from a gameplay perspective, you know, the beast's turn in the 2-player game, you know, there's something called a feeding turn, and what that means is the beast moves and eats. You know, it's part of the same action. It's not considered 2 separate actions, moving and eating. So when it says to eat any villagers in the houses, I think we're supposed to understand that as move to those houses and eat the villagers. I think that's what it means, which makes sense. Okay, so I think move there. But it also says eat any villager in those corresponding houses. So I think that also means the beast would move to 19, you know, trying to eat somebody there and then finding out the house is empty. Okay. At least one villager was eaten. Managed to eat a butcher. So curse is increased by 1, and the beast has almost won the game, only needs 1 more, which we'll get in just a second for eating that butcher. So the beast is certain to win on this turn. But let's just play it out. Next thing is the beast would like to eat a hunter. There's only 1 hunter on the board. Oh, no, sorry, there's 2. They're way over there, though, too far away. So that one will do nothing. Then we'd like to eat a woodcutter. Again, woodcutters are just too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 away. 2, 3, yeah. Too far away to get to a woodcutter, so that doesn't do anything either. But no matter. End of the turn, 8 at least 1 villager. So panic would go up if it could, but crucially, the curse goes up to its final spot, and the beast wins. Okay, that's it. The beast wins our Nullitaire game of So You've Been Cursed. Okay, a couple of final thoughts here. Now, the way I played it, using the 4 beast cards out here to restrict what the wizard could do, and then use whatever cards, whatever actions the wizard took to determine what the beast would do, is by no means the only way we could have done this. Like I said, the rulebook actually doesn't say. The way the rulebook is written, it doesn't actually make any sense for the Nullitaire game. It just doesn't tell you how to use these cards for the beast bot. Okay, we could have instead simply, you know, dealt out 3 of these and then just done whatever it said. We could have done that. And then the wizard could just do whatever's on their card without any restrictions whatsoever from the beast. Okay, that would make the game easier for the wizard bot, but it would also make the game easier for the beast bot, because as you notice, the beast didn't always do 3 actions. In fact, most of the time didn't, simply because the wizard wasn't able to do 3 actions. So the wizard was constantly being held back by what was available from the beast deck. But then that also held the beast back in what it could do. So I don't know. If you played it that other way, I probably wouldn't make much difference as far as the outcome is concerned. It would be a slightly different gameplay, though. Okay, but that does bring me to the next point, which is I don't think it matters which way you play that. I don't see how the wizard could ever win this game. I mean, the wizard is so far away. The wizard needs 4, 8, 11 more ingredients to make the cure, and it just takes too freaking long. Whereas the beast over here is just like boom, 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 boom. All the beast has to do is eat some villagers. You know, which that's all the beast does, is gobble down villagers, and the curse track moves up and the panic track moves up. Okay, so I just don't see how the wizard could ever win this game. I just don't see how it could even be possible. It would just take way too long. The beast I think could win 2 times over before the wizard had a shot. I think we could take this back down to the bottom and keep playing, and I think there's a good chance the beast would still win. I mean, maybe not, because panic is so high, and now so the wizard has some advantages now that the wizard didn't have in the early game. So maybe not, but I think still the beast could give the wizard a run for his money here. Okay, so these bots are just not balanced against each other. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. You know, as usual, these bots are made for solo play. They're made to give a challenge to a solo player, and this Nullitaire game is sort of a novelty, or considered to be a novelty. You know, it's only me that takes these things very seriously. And so, you know, like, who cares if they're balanced against each other? No one's going to play it like that. Well, except for me. Okay. But also, I think that the wizard, I mean, both of these bots are cheaters, right? They're both cheater bots. Neither one is playing the rules that human has to play by. But, you know, the wizard is actually a lot closer. So I like the wizard bot a lot better. You know, the wizard still has to go around and buy ingredients and try to put together a cure. Okay, and that's similar to what the wizard's doing in the main game. Over here, there's no wonder the beast bot wins so easily. I mean, it's a massive cheater. First of all, it doesn't even use energy, right? Those energy tokens, which are kind of like the beast's currency. It can use those to do certain things. Those are just eliminated. Forget it. And all these guards are just taken out of the game. Okay, so they provide extra little challenges on the board for the beast when the beast tries to move districts. Okay, those are just taken out. And the villagers, you know, in the 2-player game and in the solo game where a human plays the beast has to try to match up villagers. So it's not just about how many villagers the beast manages to eat. It's are they matching kinds? So if the beast eats 2 butchers, for example, that's a good thing for the beast. If the beast managed to eat 3 butchers, that's an even better thing. And having, you know, eaten 3 villagers that are different types is not that good. Okay, whereas here it's just pure quantity. It's just how many villagers can the beast gobble up, and the types just don't even matter. Okay, so again, it's pretty far away from the game, from the way a human has to play the beast. Okay, anyway, those are my thoughts on the game. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of these bots. Again, they're big, massive cheater bots. I'd much rather have bots that play by the rules of this actual game. So, you know, again, I may try to design such bots. I'm still thinking about bots for So You've Been Eaten. I have some ideas about how to make those that I've jotted down. That's not nearly in a state that I could share it yet, but I may do a similar thing with this. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing something like that. This is a good game for designing bots like that. You know, I've said on this channel before that I get it. I understand why bots are designed like this, because the primary idea is to make them to offer a challenge to a solitaire player, but at the same time make them easy to use so that, you know, when one sits down with it, one isn't bogged down like trying to work through the minutia of some of the opponent's turn, you know, through long flow charts and complicated things like that. So if they want to make a light, breezy game that can be played solo, typically they want to make a bot that like plays really fast and easy. Okay, and then that's what we have here. These are pretty fast and easy bots that, you know, I could see them presenting some kind of a challenge to a human player, especially this one. I think this would be really hard to beat. The wizard bot, I don't know if that would be that hard. It just takes forever. So it seems like, you know, maybe that'd be enough time. I don't know. I've never played the game solo. I'm just guessing. But anyway, I understand the design philosophy here of making the bots simple to use to provide a challenge to a solo player. Right? They're not generally designed for Nullitaire, which, you know, that's a shame. Because I much prefer bots that actually play the game. You know, I want to see what a reasonably good strategy looks like. I mean, that's what's interesting about bots to me. And when you make a cheater bot, you know, I'm just watching them play some other game that I don't even really care about that much. It's not nearly as interesting as the two-player game, which is a much you know, more intricate and interesting game. Okay, so I don't know. I may design some bots for this game. We'll see how it goes. And again, let me know if you'd be interested in that. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today. Bye.